All right, so boom, you're in the process of selling your 2020 Dodge Charger ScatPack wide body, right? You put a lot of money into it, a lot of modifications, a lot of upgrades, what have you. You think that you can get $75,000 for a 2020 ScatPack. You find somebody that's willing to pay $75,000 for your 2020 ScatPack. You and him exchange messages. You agree, this is what I'm selling it for. This is what you're going to pay. Here's my bank account information. Here's my title information to the car. Here are all the keys, all of the accessories, anything that comes with the car. Here it is. In exchange, you send me the money. He sends the money to your Ally bank account, right? $75,000. You see it pending when you open up your Ally bank account, at which point you hand over the keys, you hand over the title, you hand over the car. It's his at this point, right? Because, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. $75,000 pending in your bank account. You wake up the following morning after you've already given him the key, the title, and the car, and $75,000 has been returned. It has been withdrawn from your bank account. You now have $0 in your bank account. And it just so happens that the bank account that the money came from is closed. The person that you sold your car to, quote unquote, isn't picking up the phone anymore. You essentially sold your 2020 Dodge Charger ScatPack wide body for free. You wanted $75,000, but you ended up selling it for free. That person's gone with your car, not picking up the phone. The bank account is closed. They're gone. They got your car for free. This is not a story. This is real life. This actually happened. Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? It's your boy Knockout360 here with another video, man. So you can tell I'm in a car. That makes it a car vlog. You already know what's going down when I come around. Let's get into it. Car content, car shows, car reviews, car meets. Anything and everything car related happens on this channel. So if you're into that, make sure that you stick around, because you are in the right place. For everyone else, hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so that you know what's coming out and when it's coming out. So boom. You know, one of my subscribers sent me this story. He was in the process of selling his 2020 Dodge Charger ScatPack wide body, which happens to be the exact same car that I have now. He's modified it. He's upgraded it. He's made it a theme. It's actually a Wakanda themed Dodge Charger ScatPack, right? But long story short, he's in the process of selling his car. Somehow or another, he was able to negotiate $75,000 in cash for this car. I understand he's put modifications in it and he's upgraded it and so on and so forth. So that's probably where the 75 comes from. But damn, if you can get 75 for a ScatPack, that's lovely. You know what I'm saying? Selling it wise, if you're paying 75 for a ScatPack, you're getting screwed over. But anyway, he's in the process of selling it for $75,000. Turns out he actually meets somebody that's willing to pay $75,000 for a ScatPack wide body. To my understanding, based on what he told me, everything was agreed upon as far as the price of the car, the condition of the car, the upgrades, all that stuff. All of that was agreed upon, and everything was made pretty much, you know, transparent between the two, transaction E and transactioner. So, you know, he's texting this guy, and I assume he's probably calling him as well, calling him on the phone, texting him, what have you, letting him know, hey, listen, I'm ready to sell this car whenever you're, you know, available to come and buy it or whatever the case may be. So I'm assuming they met in person. He gave him his, when I say he, I'm talking about the seller, gave him his bank account information, said, hey, listen, deposit the money into this bank account. Once I see it's in the bank account, the car is yours. The keys, the title, the car, everything that it comes with it is yours at that point. So the person that's buying it had a legitimate bank account for which they had this quote unquote $75,000 sitting in the bank account. At the time of the sale, or at the time of the purchase, depending on how you're looking at it, at the time of the transaction rather, he transfers the $75,000 from his bank account into the Ally bank account of the person that's selling the ScatPack. The person that's selling the ScatPack goes to their Ally bank account and they see $75,000 pending, right? $75,000 pending, which is pretty much, I mean, that's all but gold at that point. Like it's all but done at that point, just because I see it here, $75,000 pending. You know, like I know if he decided the ACH, automated clearinghouse, that could probably take what, 2 to 3 business days for it to clear. If it was a wire, it should clear within a couple hours, at the absolute worst 24 hours. But it says pending here, so I'm assuming that the person that was selling this car was like, hey, listen, that's good enough. That's all I need right there. That looks good. So he handed over the keys, he handed over the title, and he handed over the car. Well, he woke up the following morning, right? And if you look at this bank statement here, I'm not going to put all his information. I mean, it literally says, you know, One-time payment, $75,000 pending, 2020 Dodge Charger, the payment amount, the posting date, paid to, all that stuff, payment source. It even has the account number from which the payment came from, the account number on behalf of where the payment came from. Everything looks legit. $75,000 pending, you know what I'm saying? The date, the bank account number, the routing number, all that stuff. Bank account type, the ABA routing number, all that stuff is there. All looks legit. Well, this person wakes up the following morning, checks his bank account, $0. The payment had been withdrawn. So in that pending stage, the payment had been withdrawn. Unfortunately, the seller has already handed over the keys, the title, and the car. So he reaches out to the person, tries to text them, tries to call them, no response. I think he reaches out to Ally Bank. The Ally Bank was the bank account, the receiving bank account on behalf of the $75,000 payment. And they were going to reach out to the bank account from which the funds came from, the original source of the funds. Turns out that bank account's been closed. $75,000 just disappeared. And the car disappeared as well. You know, that hurts, man. You know, this is actually not the first time that I've heard something like this happening in regards to the sale of a Dodge Charger ScatPack. The other case was a Hellcat, actually. But I'm telling you guys, I mean, I don't know how much more concrete this sale could have been. I mean, to open your app and open your bank account app and see $75,000 pending, at that point, you and I both know, because, I mean, we all get paid from somewhere. Once you see that money pending, it's just a matter of time before it settles. And once it settles, that's your money. So, I mean, it's one of those things like once you see it in the app and it's pending, you can go ahead and hand over the keys and the title because it's like, okay, it's here already. It's just a matter of it settling. And once it settles, that's a matter of a couple hours or a day or so at max. If it's an ACH, that could be what? Anywhere between 2 to 3 business days. If it's a wire, that should be a couple hours to 24 hours at the absolute worst, depending on if it was after the wire cutoff period in which the bank account accepted it. You know what I'm saying? But once you see that $75,000 in your bank account, it's all but done. Like, we're done here for the most part. Here are the keys, here's the title, here's the car. I'm good. I've got my money. So I can't blame him at all because, I mean, by all intents and purposes, he did his part. Everything looks legit. But, I mean, that $75,000 disappeared during that pending stage. Before it was able to settle in his bank account and actually become available funds, that $75,000 was withdrawn. And he had already handed over the keys, the title, and the car at that point. The phone number isn't real. It's not valid to my understanding. The bank account's been closed. Ally can't get in contact with the bank account. This guy who owns the car and sold the car, he can't get in contact with it. The car is gone. You know, he wanted $75,000 for the Scat and ended up walking away with $0. This actually happens out there much more frequently than a lot of people think, man. I mean, you've just got to be careful when it comes to these private transactions, right? When you're doing a private transaction between you and another person, whether you met this person in person or not, it does not matter. You really have to do your due diligence, man. And in a situation like this, I mean, he did everything that he possibly could, if you ask me. The only thing that he could have done more was allowing the $75,000 to actually settle and become available funds and then hand over the keys. But most people on the other side of that transaction aren't going to allow that, because then you can make it a situation where you just took my money. I want the car. Well, I'm not giving you the car. You know, some people would say it that way. It's like, listen, I just transferred it. You see it on your bank account. Give me the damn keys, give me the car, and get out of my face. As far as when it settles, that's between you and your bank, because every bank is different. Sometimes it'll settle ASAP. Sometimes it'll settle the next business day, you know. And God forbid this transaction took place on the weekend. That payment may not settle till Monday morning. So you've got damn 2-3 days, well, you know, 2 days, the weekend, to withdraw that payment and hit the road. So I can't blame him as the seller, because he did everything that he was supposed to do. It's just a really messed up situation. Like, it's a messed up situation that stuff like this actually happens to people. But I mean, to all the guys out there that's doing these private transactions, these private sales of your car or any sort of high dollar, high ticket item, I mean, I would almost want to get a third party involved. I think he had Ally Bank involved in this transaction. I'm not sure how much they were involved. I think maybe they were just kind of the receiving bank on his end. But it would almost be one of those things like I want some sort of, another legal entity watching over the whole transaction just to make sure that I got my money and it's settled and he got his car and, the transaction is complete. Because, like I said, he did everything that he was supposed to do. He handed over the title, the keys, the car. He got the screenshot, the notification that the money was pending to be deposited. There's nothing more that he can do on his end except for wait for the money to settle, at which point, the transaction is complete. But he got screwed over. I mean, it could have been one of those things where this took place on the weekend. Maybe not. If it took place on the weekend, that would make much more sense because when you think about it, a lot of deposits on a Friday or Saturday aren't going to settle until Monday morning. So the seller or the buyer had 2 days to withdraw that payment and hit the road and disappear and close his bank account and get out of Dodge before the buyer or the seller actually realized that the payment had been withdrawn that Monday morning. So that could have been a possibility there. But I mean, like I said, there's nothing more that this guy could have done. He did his part. It's just a really messed up situation that it happened this way, which is why I caution you guys when you're selling your cars on the private market and it's just between you and a seller, you've really got to do your due diligence on that person. Like, you need to know who this person is. Social media is great for selling things, but you just don't know what kind of characters are out there, especially as it pertains to these cars. For some reason, a lot of people don't like paying for these cars. They would rather steal them, scam them, however they can get them. They don't like paying for them. I don't understand that mindset mentality, but that's not for me. But a lot of people would rather steal these cars, scam these cars, and be driving around in them. For what reason, I don't know. But, once again, that just kind of speaks to my point. It's just, you've just got to be careful who you're dealing with when it comes to these cars in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I mean, we've talked about in the past, even in my city, where certain car detailers were getting people set up. Like, they would take a picture of their car being detailed that they just detailed, and they would take a picture in such a way that it had their address in the back or some sort of bearing in the background of the picture so that people could, connect two and two and say, oh, that's downtown, or that's across the street from the Walmart. Or that person just happened to know somebody that's robbing on the side and was like, hey, listen, I know for a fact that he's got a Hellcat Charger in the garage downtown Charlotte, and here's the code to get in. He gave me the code so that I can come and wash and detail his car. Here's the code to get in. Go take it. I guarantee you to be no problems. So as it pertains to these cars, guys, just be careful who you deal with. It doesn't matter in what capacity you're dealing with the person. Just be careful because you don't know what their intentions are. Unfortunately, my man here, he lost his car. I think he's probably still in the process of getting it back. Clean ass Dodge Charger wide body. It looks just like mine. I mean, blacked out. Wide body, 2020, same year as mine. I don't know how in the hell he was able to sell it for $75,000, but damn, if he was able to pull that off, that would have been a hell of a successful score, right? I mean, we talk about scats going for 70 plus, brand new on this channel all the time. He's able to sell a 2020 for 75. That would have been a steal of a lifetime, but unfortunately, it didn't work out, man. So to all you guys out there doing private transactions, just be careful because for some reason, these cars just bring out the worst characters in the damn world. Like, a lot of people just aren't legitimate when it comes to these cars, man. And unfortunately, this is another example of that here. So, as always, it's been your boy Knockout 360, man. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.